Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome back to DCTV, where I am your host, Drew Collins, bringing you all Cincinnati sports-related news here in the greater Cincinnati area. If you're new around here, my name is Drew Collins, and this is my channel, DCTV, where we bring the best infotainment and quality infotainment for Cincinnati Bengals news. Definitely join the DCT family on hashtag road to 2K. We're getting so close. Hit that like button to show that support. And if you want to donate to the stream, you can donate just like Stuart and Tony did. Yeah, so let's hop into things. Today's video is pretty straightforward. If you have been under a rock or just been busy today and haven't been able to unravel this information yourself, there's definitely some unjustified beef in the Cincinnati Bengals locker room coming from somewhere. Now, please, before you get angry at me or the Bengals or whatever this may be, and the title of this video, it says reportedly. So this is based off sources, okay? So I want to get that before I even dive into any details or any information. This is reportedly. So keep that in mind throughout the video. I'm gonna get going live here on Facebook, and then after I will hop into things. So if you're new around here, hit that like button, hit that sub button, and we'll hop into things. And shout out to Drake Berry. He was the one that kind of showed me the tweets of this happening. So shout out to Drake for putting me on this fairly quickly. Wow, and shout out to the Facebook people. Over 120 followers on Facebook. That's crazy. I just made that. I haven't even had that for the whole season. So that's crazy. Anyways, what are you guys saying in the group chat? WhoDey Drake, WhoDey EJ, WhoDey LT. Welcome. WhoDey Jerry, WhoDey Craypup. Congrats on 100K views. Thank you, man. Thank you. Anyway, so let's hop into today's topic of today's video. Let me pull it up on Twitter here real quick. So if you didn't know, there was some outsiders. I'll bring up his name and everything just so you have his sources. Aren't my sources. This is somebody who has around 20,000 followers and is a pretty justified source here in around the NFL. So let me pull his name up real quick on Twitter. Frank, and I'm going to really butcher his last name. Frank Marzulu is what is his position? He works at Fox 19. Is this him? I don't think this is him. One second, guys. Let me figure this out. Yeah, so it's a Sports Illustrated article. So an inside look at the Bengals' toxic culture by Alisi Jesse. Alisi Jesse TV is her Twitter. 15,000 on Twitter. She's a all Bengals contributor for Sports Illustrated. So there are my source. Yes, hashtag pray for Joe in the comment section. I just wanted to get that out. So don't get mad at me for me saying reportedly. I'm just going off what these sources say. So now let's hop into it. Let me get going here on Facebook. Okay. Anyways, so what looked like it's happened is that this Bengals toxic culture has been going around the locker room. And what's this mean? What does this mean, you might say? Well, taking a look at it, furthermore, essentially what has happened is that it's rumored that, Zac Taylor has been buying this buy-in thing, buy into the locker room. And reportedly, That's not really what he's doing. Let me get into it. Where is it at? So, come on, where's the good stuff? So apparently he says, sources say defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo is unapproachable. They add that he is regularly uses abusive language and commonly calls players dumb mother effers and dumb B words. This is a game of football. This is the most, physical sport in the world. So I'm not here for the abusive language. He might be out of line with some of his language usage, but this is the game of football. So I'm not going to go on par and say this is the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that the defensive coordinator is unapproachable by players. These are players that are saying this to the source. This isn't the source saying this. This is what players are telling this person. And they're saying these quotes that what he calls these players, and then also that he is unapproachable, and that is why he's the worst defensive coordinator in the NFL. Hands down, we have the worst defensive coordinator in the NFL, and if the Bengals don't clean house with these coaching staff, it's going to be a tough next decade because Joe Burrow, like we've seen, is not going to have success when the success around him is put for failure because we can't put any coaches around him. Coach Taylor declined to comment when asked about the defensive coordinator's language and coaching style. So now that Zac Taylor won't even comment on what he is saying, hashtag fire Lou, hashtag DC for DC. This is huge. The fact that this coaching staff is unapproachable and they won't even comment on their own actions, I've said it for weeks, and a lot of Bengals fans have disagreed with me. I don't know what it is about some of these Bengals fans, just not letting me, just disagreeing with me. I've tried to buy into this locker room. Go back a few weeks ago when we beat the Titans. I was head over heels. I would run through a brick wall for Zac Taylor and his coaching staff because I thought we would turn it around. And boy, is I wrong. Not has Zac Taylor lost this locker room, but it looks like he also has lost the coaching staff as well. Where else am I missing? I'm missing the good stuff. I'm trying to find. Sorry guys, let me find. I got to go back to Drake. And shout out to Drake Berry because he is the one that sent me these articles. But so let me pull it up. I mean, you can have your own thoughts on the abusive language, okay? It's football. It's the toughest game in the world. But that's not the point. The point isn't that he's throwing out cuss words. The point is the fact that he is unaccountable. You can't hold him to anything. And he takes zero responsibility. That is the biggest thing. If you're going to be an NFL coach, you're going to have to take your L's. And you're going to have to learn from them and move on. That's just life in general. But as an NFL coach, how do you think Bill Belichick has been able to build such a great dynasty? He runs with the punches, man. He doesn't just take this stuff and run away with it and be delusional. It's really upsetting that he's preaching this buy-in, guys. Come on, buy in. But the guy is 224-1 in the past 2 seasons. Is 224-1 or 221-1? Something crazy like that. And I don't get his comments. He says, Zac Taylor keeps saying, we'll see through it. We'll look past it. You got to look through the light down the tunnel. What's the light we're looking at, Zach? What is the light? Because to me, there's no light when the coaching staff can't coach. Joe Burrow isn't going to take us to the Super Bowl himself. Joe Burrow himself is not going to win us playoff games. You have to build a supporting cast, and I think a lot of Bengals fans have woken up recently after the Burrow injury and say, wow, has he done enough to build around Burrow? I feel like there's always an excuse for everything. And I think it's starting to finally leak into the media once again. And I'm going to be honest. I mean, we're not going to make the playoffs this season. And for a second season in a row, we're going to be fighting for a draft choice, draft capital. And do we want this guy to be drafting? The biggest thing with me is you have all this leak out, but they won't address anything. Zac Taylor won't go and say, okay, here's my press conference. He won't hold a press conference and tell us the truth. And that is my biggest problem. You got to tell us what's going on. You lied about the Mixon injury, and there's just so much that he is just swept under the carpet, and us Bengals fans are supposed to buy in. Like, okay, hey, there's always next year. If you're a Bengals fan and you said, oh, there's always next year, let me know in the comment section, because I feel like that's always something we have to use as an excuse. And there's just so much being swept under the carpet that's unexplainable that we need to know what's going on. And it's sad because, part of me wanted to say back when Carlos Dunlap and John Ross and Alden Tate were speaking out earlier in the year, part of me wanted to say it's okay. We're going to buy into the guys, and the guys that want to buy in are going to be shipped out of the locker room. And it's like, boy, could I really have been wrong there? Because at this point, who is buying in? I'm gonna keep looking for some more information. And I think the problem with this is that it's abusive language towards the players, it's trust issues, and zero accountability. That is what is being told. And it's not like this is still reportedly, you know what I mean? But this is still coming from the locker room. This is coming from players who play for the Cincinnati Bengals, not players. We've already got rid of Dunlap. We're going to get rid of John Ross at the end of the season. We don't know if AJ Green's going to return. Well, I mean, we're losing a lot of guys here for the greater good or not. We got to have an answer. If players are having trust issues and there's zero accountability, well, that's a problem because it starts at the top. It starts with the top of the chain, and then it leaks down into the rest of the organization. Well, if our owner doesn't do anything, which he hasn't in 3 decades, that's why we haven't won a playoff game since, 1971 or something like that? I don't expect him to come out and hold a press conference and say, we're going to be looking towards the future. Don't expect that to happen. And if it's Zac Taylor, where am I supposed to pull positivity at when Zac Taylor, from his own players in the locker room, are saying they can't trust him and he has zero accountability? And where I'm getting at is us as fans and content creators and this Cincinnati Bengals, media. If I sit here and say that, which I have for the past few weeks, that he takes zero responsibility and zero accountability for his actions, that's different. But if Cincinnati Bengal football players are saying it themselves, then man, it must really be beyond me, right? Like, if I believe that, that's different. If you guys believe that's different. But if Cincinnati guys wearing this jersey that goes out there and puts their life on the line every freaking week, man, and they're saying this, it's like, what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to disagree with the players that, no, Zach's the guy? You know how hard that is? Okay, and even if I were to say that, if you were to pose the situation and be for Zac Taylor, not against, where am I supposed to say, okay, yeah, I saw flashes of Zac Taylor. The guy has 4 wins in 2 seasons. 4-21-1 or 4-24-1 or something like that, right? So what am I supposed to say? Oh, yeah, those 4 games, man, he's really shown me that he's going to be the guy here in Cincinnati. And I think the biggest issue is I don't think the Bengals are going to leave him. I don't think the Bengals are going to get rid of him at the end of the season. I personally don't think that's going to happen. Yes, Marvin Lewis won games. Yes, Marvin Lewis got to the playoffs. But Marvin Lewis, in his entire tenured career as a Cincinnati Bengals head coach, didn't win a single playoff game, and he was coach for the Bengals for 2 decades. Do you think we're going to get rid of this guy in 2 years? The Bengals are one of the most conservative franchises in the entire NFL. Are they really going to go out there and move on from this guy in 2 years? I don't know, and I don't think they will. But personally, from my heart, when is it going to take enough of you to see enough that you think you can move off the guy? Thank you, John, for joining the DCTV family. If you want to be like John, join the DCTV family and help me get to 2K subscribers. Thank you, John. Anyways, what are we saying in the chat? Bengals should clean house. I know. I mean, it really puts it up for question. But the problem is it's still the same owner. If the owner and the top guys above coaching isn't going to be aggressive and isn't going to make moves to support Burrow, it don't matter what coach you're going to bring in. But the problem is the coach has one job. He has to win football games. It's a numbers game. Football is a numbers game, and that's a numbers job. You have wins and you have losses. And if your losses outnumber your wins, you're not a coach, right? Pretty simple. But how do you win? You have a tight-knit locker room, right? If you win because of your locker room, the players and everybody in it, they can go make plays and they have good team chemistry. That's how you win football games. And when the locker room is against the coach, who's going to be for him? Right? Like I want to do the opposing side. That's why I brought up, okay, you may be with Zac Taylor. But even if you are, what's your argument for Zac Taylor continuing to be the coach? The only thing I have is I don't think the Bengals realistically will fire him this offseason because why would they? They kept, Mike Zimmer, or not Mike Zimmer, excuse me. They kept the last guy two decades. 2 decades. And I understand he got to the playoffs. He had winning seasons. I get that. So, but still, he didn't win a single playoff game. What's the standard for the Bengals? Just to make the playoffs? I feel like every other team, if they're having a bad season or not, for the future or for the now, it's to win the Super Bowl. But I feel like as a Bengals fan, it's just get to the playoffs, win a playoff game. That's our Super Bowl. And that's so sad this ownership has had this standard and makes the fans feel that way. It's really upsetting that that's how us fans have to feel. That our Super Bowl is getting to the playoffs and make games. I mean, shoot, for the past few years, go 500. Go 8-8. That would make me feel good. Contend. All I said this year was my prediction, my expectation was to contend. I don't want to be a laugh of a franchise anymore. I don't want to be the end of the rope team, Oh, the Bengals, they destroy everybody. Anyone who goes to Cincinnati, it's the end of their career. It ruins them. Well, Bengals, what would I tell this organization? Well, you did a pretty good job proving the national media right, because the national media said that the same thing about Joe Burrow. They said he should sit out, he shouldn't go to Cincinnati, because just like Carson Palmer and all these other players, they don't set them up for success. And then I look as a Bengals fan, I'm like, okay, the Bengals, they're going to get it right this time. They're going to get it right. And yes, Burrow's injury was a freak injury, but you can still continually set him up for success. You can go draft a first-round offensive lineman. You can go sign a veteran offensive lineman, a top 10 offensive lineman. There's plenty of good offensive linemen in this next free agency that you have to go get. You got to keep building around him. And if they settle for this one guy in the draft who is supposed to be really, really good, there's a few guys that we can get with a top 5 pick that we're going to have. Yes, that's not enough. You got to continue. You got to start with the coaching, too. Is Zac Taylor the guy? I don't know. Through a year and a half of his coaching career, I don't know if he's the guy. I really don't. But one thing I will know is that defensive coordinator is the worst defensive coordinator in the NFL, and the Bengals will not have a winning season until he is fired. Thank you, Jerry, for joining the Discord. If you want to be like Jerry, join the Discord. I'll shout you out. Also, go follow me on Twitter. I'll shout your name out right now. If you go follow me on Twitter, I'll shout you out. I need to get my Twitter game up. Can we fire the owner? Don't think so. He has all the money. The ball's in his court. Turner and Lou should go at the very least, says King Vortex. Joe Burrow was a spark to the team, and now that he is a spark, is dead. And that's right. All my hope, all the losses, all the the sorry Sunday performances that we've had in the past 2 years was all for Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and the guys we drafted, right? And guess what? We don't have Burrow anymore. So, damn, does that suck? You know, I'm going to try to be positive because that's what I do here on DCTV, but you can't ignore the truth. And the truth is the Bengals really screwed this one up. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and be a sorry nanny or, you know, down nanny or whatever you want to say. You know, Burrow's career isn't over. Burrow's going to rehab. He's going to come back. It may not be the start of 2021, okay? You don't rush him. He has his entire career ahead of him. If it has to be middle of 2021, 4 weeks in 2021, I don't care. As long as he gets healthy, he rehabs, and he comes back healthier than ever, we know that's going to happen. We expect that out of Joe Burrow because that is the guy he's been his entire life, and that's what he brings to the table. I'm not worried about Burrow coming back and not being the same, okay? I'm really not. I'm not worried about when he comes back. I'm just worried outside of Joe Burrow. What can we do outside of Joe Burrow in the meantime? The Bengals really need to take a hard look at themselves in the mirror these last couple of weeks in this offseason before Burrow can return. Like, man, what can we do for Burrow? And it's crazy. That's how much Burrow changes this franchise. Without Burrow, you guys are going to find out what this franchise is these next few weeks. For the people that say, oh, you ride Burrow too much. You want to see what this franchise is without Burrow? Well, you're about to for these last 2 months of this season. You're about to see what the Bengals are without Burrow. Burrow is the only way we're going to win games. We're going to go to the playoffs. Build around him. It's so easy. It is so easy. Build around him and protect him. What makes me so mad about Zac Taylor is he's so delusional in his press conferences these past few weeks. He's really said some things that really got me uneven. And if you're in our Discord, there was a little bit of a heated debate about me against Zac Taylor and someone really trying to protect him a little bit. And it really wasn't even with me. Because in the press conference right after Joe Burrow got hurt, I think the following day, one of the people asked, what about this offensive line that could have been better to protect Joe Burrow or something like that? And the only thing Zac Taylor could say, well, I would say, are you watching the game? The past 4 weeks, we've been a lot better than before, or something like that. I looked up those stats for the past 4 weeks. It was over double-digit sacks and against a Tennessee Titans football team who has the worst pass rush in the NFL. And that's your response? Not, oh, we can be better. Oh, we're working on it. It's that smart-ass response? Take your hits, man. Yeah, I know our offensive line can be better at something we're going to have to continue to work on. No, that's not his response. His response is, are you watching the game? Have you watched the past 4 weeks? Yeah, I have. And Joe Burrow's been running around with a chicken with his head off, scrambling for his life. Running for his life, making plays, improvising because that's the player he is. And that's sad. He doesn't stick up for him. It's so sad. He ignores the biggest problem in the room. The biggest problem in the room, he just looks past it. Look at the brighter picture. What picture am I supposed to be looking at? I know what's the brightest on this team, and it's Joe Burrow and the young talent around him. Jesse Bates, Carl Lawson, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jonah Williams. We know the guys we got, and we got guys for the future. But what are you going to do to protect them, to support them? I don't know. I really don't know. And another thing I want to address, I might as well keep going while I'm at it. The fact that after Joe Burrow's injury, if you were watching live, Zac Taylor gathers the huddle, gathers the guy around him in a huddle formation, and starts yelling at everybody to fire them up. And you know what I said during that stream? Where the hell has this been the past 2 years? It only took for you to draft your franchise quarterback and to get him hurt for you to huddle some guys around and to actually yell at somebody. And you know what's surprising to me? He doesn't yell, but reportedly the defensive coordinator is cussing out guys and using unoffensive language towards the players. So it sounds like this isn't a good fit, right? Somebody has to go because you have a head coach who is such a teddy bear on the field and won't yell at anybody to do their job. But then you have a defensive coordinator that is just unnecessarily using abusive language towards players. What is going on? What is going on in this locker room? I am fed up. Something has to change. If you're a Bengals fan, all you want to do is win and have success. And you have to evaluate by looking at this Bengals office and roster and saying, okay, what needs to change? We got to add a couple different, we got to continue to add more talent on the team in, different positions. Obviously, the offensive line, the cornerbacks, there's positions we have to add on, right? And there's positions we're good at. Then you look up and you see coaching, ownership, and all that stuff. Something has to budge. Something has to budge. I don't know. I was just really confused how it took Joe Burrow to have that devastating injury for him to gather a huddle and say, guys, let's go out there and win for this kid. Where the hell has that been the last 2 years? I haven't seen one mean bone in this guy's body the past 2 years. I've never seen him grab a player or go get a player and yell his ear off on the field. Have you guys watched coaches that win ball games? Have you seen the Bill Belichick's, the Mike Zimmers? Have you seen these guys, what they do on the field? If a player or a coach gets something wrong, they let them know. They let them know so they can fix it next time they go on the field. Not once have I seen him go after a player on the field and say something. But then we can have a defensive coordinator using abusive language towards the players. Really? Really? I don't know, man. I've never been against Zac Taylor. But damn, is he really building a big case for himself for me not to like him? I try to support. I try to buy in. And if you disagree with me, go on my social medias, my Twitter, my Instagram. Go watch my old streams. I try to buy into the locker room and Zac Taylor. But damn, he's making it a hard job when you have reports like this coming out. He's making a really hard job. A really hard job to like him. And, outside of the numbers, you try to like him. Because if I look at the numbers, he has 4 wins in 2 seasons. 4 wins and 20-plus losses. Well, if I look at that number, I don't like him. But, there's things you throw into it. We haven't had the most talented roster. We had Ryan Finley for quarterback half of last year. And Andy Dalton, who was ready to head out of town. You know what I mean? So, but I get there's those things. But I'm not going to give that to him if I'm hearing this. At some point, man, you got to take accountability. You're a head coach in the National Football League. At one point, do you just finally just grow a pair and take it? Take the punches. Man, it makes me so frustrated. I want to support Zac Taylor. I really, really do. I really want to buy into the franchise. Because my whole life, I haven't been able to buy into anything as a Bengals fan. I never have. And so I want to. I desperately want to. But man, are you guys buying what this guy is selling? It's really hard to look at it and say, wow, I like this guy. He gives you so many reasons not to like him. And I really, 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 before you go give your opinion, go do some research. Go watch his press conference. I watch every single one of his press conferences. I watch every second of every game. I look at all the articles that are about him, and there's a lot of things to like. But damn, as of lately, this season, there's a lot of things not to like too, man. And I'm just trying to think, for Joe Burrow and for the sake of success, for winning in this franchise, what is the best thing possible heading forward? And I don't know if it's Zac Taylor. I don't know. It definitely could be. But at this point, man, I don't know. I really don't know. But for all the people that... I don't know. If you're in this stream, I've been ranting for about 30 minutes, so please smash that like button for me and hit that sub button like my boy John just did and join the DCTV family. Follow me on all my socials as well, Instagram, Twitter, and definitely join the DCTV family, the best infotainment channel on YouTube for Bengals content by far, so join the family. And it's really unfortunate because up to besides the past few weeks, I have been nothing but a ball of positivity for this YouTube, for DCTV network, for the Bengals network, for this WhoDey Nation. I've been nothing but positivity. But man, these past few weeks, man, there's not much positive. I mean, if you're here live or if you're watching this post-production, what positivity have you seen as of late? What positivity have you seen as late? Follow me on my socials. If you follow right now, I'll give you a shout out live on stream. Thoughts in the comment sections. I need to hear your guys. DCTV is a family where I talk, but I also got to hear your response. I feed off your guys' feedback. So let me know your thoughts. Be honest. Be respectful. Let me know your thoughts. What's best for this franchise in your opinion moving forward? Let me know, because I need to know what other people are thinking. I don't want to know what I'm just thinking. Tony.
Hey DCTV, I am here.
Hey Logan, thank you for joining the DCTV family. Hey Pieces Boy 89, thank you for joining the Discord. Jerry, thank you for joining the Discord. And Tony, thank you for joining thank you for donating, man. Your donations help me so much. So what's up, Tony? I hope you're having a great day, and thank you for donating to the stream. The thing I'm gonna say after going on a little bit of a rant, you can't blame this guy entirely for everything, okay? You can't blame Zac for everything. I'm going to toss it up there and say it was a freak injury, because that's what it was at the end of the day. You can't blame him for that injury, but you can blame him for not putting together a good game plan, not winning football games, for other reasons that are around that. And I think a lot of people get angry, like, oh, you can't be mad at him for everything. Well, I mean, he's the head coach, so a lot of blame are going to get on his shoulders. You got to understand that, okay? You're kind of ignorant if you don't think a lot of blame, if it's for him, if you really think it's for him or not. If you think he's not going to catch blame, you're ignorant. He's a coach in the NFL league. All coaches in the NFL league, if it's deserved or not, get stuff pinned on them, and that's just the National Football League, right? The best league in the entirety of sports in the world. So it's what happens. But man, I don't know. Drake said following the game, Taylor was asked if he was sensed the change in body language and energy when Burrow left the game, and Taylor replied, no. We'll see right through it. Like, it's comments like that, man, that fired me up about Zac Taylor. Like, how are you going to say Joe Burrow goes down and there wasn't a change of mood or feeling after he went down? Did you watch that game? Once Burrow went out, man, that game, the soul, the heart, the spirit was sucked out of the Cincinnati Bengals. Every single player, every single fan, every single coaching member just got sucked out of their souls, and it was just the game was lifeless for the Bengals. It was a 9-7 ball game, and it really looked like we were going to win that game. And did you see what happened? And he wants to say, no, we'll see right through it. Come on, man. Another thing was asked, has Taylor taken the time to get to know all of the players? Does he have an open door policy? The second-year coach declined to comment. He declined to comment on if he was open to talking to his players. How do you decline to comment that? That's another issue of mine. What? How do you decline to comment that you have an open door policy with your players? If you say yes, even if you're lying, we'll take your word. If you decline, you expect us not to think that's a little bit of that's a little suspect? If there's not something going on between the lines? Like, how am I supposed to take that? Multiple sources have described the culture in Cincinnati as more of a college-level environment instead of a professional locker room. One member of the team said the culture didn't even compare to a college locker room. It's worse, they said. Multiple people within the organization believe players are staying quiet because they don't want to lose playing time. They say that there is very little trust between the players and the coaching staff. Taylor declined to comment when I asked about trust issues between his players and staff. And that's all from this article. Once again, this isn't I'm not reporting this. This is all legit. This is all reported by Sports Illustrated and Fan Nation by Elise Jesse. There's a whole article on it. I will copy and paste it into the description once I'm done with this article. So don't come at me. I'm just reporting what they're reporting.
pray go to Joe Burrow.
And yes, thank you, Tony. That's very well said. Hashtag pray for Joe is still very prominent of a thing. Hashtag pray for Joe. It's still a thing, and it won't go away. What are we saying in the chat? What are we saying in the chat? Bengals can use a rebuild, for example. Trade AJ Green and some two rounders for maybe a defensive player. Well, the thing is, AJ might walk this offseason. At this point, I really don't see AJ Green returning. Like, I don't know. Besides him, multiple times in the past reporting that he wants to retire as a Bengal, and he has looked at what Larry Fitzgerald has done in his career and has liked what he has done and wants to do something very similar. At this point, seeing what I've seen this season from his play and his body language, I still don't think AJ Green's going to return this offseason. So we're not going to be able to trade him. What's going to happen is he's going to walk. I'm a Washington fan, but I wanted to say that you need to fire Zac Taylor and the defensive coordinator and fix the defense and try to get a backup quarterback and have some things and respect for the team. And I don't think the Bengals are going to go out there and get another quarterback. I think we're going to roll with Ryan Finley just because he knows the system. He's been on the scout team for the season. But, if you think they should go get another guy or not, I think it's between him and Brandon Allen, and I think that's what we'll stick with it. Burrow can use some weapons. But we actually have some good weapons. CJ Uzomah got his Achilles, he tore his Achilles. He went out. So Drew Sample, a former second-rounder tight end, stepped up for him. You have AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, a former first-rounder, John Ross, Auden Tate. Burrow has weapons on that offense. And you could tell he did because our offense, for multiple weeks in a row, we were scoring 20 to 30 points almost easy week in and week out. We were scoring points. The offense looked good. Zac Taylor had some good weeks of play calling, and then he had some bad weeks of play calling. He had some good quarters of play calling, and he had bad quarters of play calling. It is what it is. He's a coach. He's human. But, I think it's more beyond the weapons. I think it's more protecting Burrow, getting that offensive line set in place. It's a big red thumb and it's a sore, and if you continue to ignore it like some Bengals fans had and say, oh, we'll be above average to average, well, is it? Has it been? Because what I've seen, it hasn't been. So, I've liked the moves. The Bengals picked up Quentin Spain, which I thought was a fantastic move, and I still do, but is that really enough? No, it's not. We got to continue to make moves. And I really like, Spain. I think he'll be our guard for the future. I think Jonah Williams is the future. I think Trey Hopkins could be part of the future. And I think we got to address the other tackle position. Although Hakeem Adeniji has played a pretty fair game, or few games when he has played. He's played at guard. He's played at tackle. He's done well. He's a 6th-round pick, people. He's a 6th-round pick. You can't expect much out of him. But the Bengals don't have anything better, so they throw him in there, and he's done pretty well. So I'm not blaming that on Adeniji. You blame that on the organization. You got to set your players up for success. And although they've tried to and have made some moves to help that, a lot of them haven't worked out. We went out and got Trey Waynes. He got injured. Not blaming that on the organization. Injuries happen. He's out for the season. CJ Uzomah out for the season. Mackenzie Alexander has struggled with injuries. Not Trey Waynes. WJ3 has struggled with some more injuries this year. We've had guys that, have dealt stuff. Sam Hubbard just came back. So there's a lot of things that definitely play into this. But, man, it's just a lot to unravel for sure. David said, so I haven't been following the Bengals for long, but my entire life I've heard nothing but terrible news from the organization is how it's run. I guess my question is, as somebody who only recently started following the Bengals as a fan of Joe Burrow, is this more of an ownership and management, or is this more the coach? Generally asking, as I've always heard a lot of people point fingers both ways. Personally, it's ownership, because this has always been a problem. You can go back to Marvin Lewis when he coached for 2 decades. He won some games. He won a lot of games. We made the playoffs 5 seasons in a row, but we lost every single one of them. And the Bengals are known as one of the most conservative franchises ever. They don't trade players. They don't sign a lot of free agents. No one really says in the NFL, man, that guy went to Cincinnati. That's a good move by Cincinnati. Besides this past offseason, that really hasn't been said. So this is I definitely point this more on the organization and a generalized view. But looking at these, what this video is about losing the locker room. And that's on Zac Taylor. Losing the locker room is on Zac Taylor 110%. As a coach, you have a job. That's to win games. How do you do that? By piecing together your locker room. But as an entire generalized view, it's on the organization, which is above Zac Taylor. And thank you, Tony, for the donation, by the way. NFC lease. So there's a lot of guys to blame. You can sit here and blame Mike Brown. You can blame Duke Tobin. You can blame Zac Taylor. I'm tired of blaming, and I went on a good rant, and it's out of my system now. I'm done ranting. My whole generalized view on losing the locker room, I blame Zac Taylor. The generalized view on looking towards the future and building around Burrow goes above that. Goes above the ownership. Because they have to make the best call on supporting Joe Burrow and having a successful football franchise. Something the Bengals haven't had. A successful football franchise. You can call 8-8 seasons successful. You can call 10-win seasons successful. You can call seasons making the playoffs successful. Not winning playoff games, but making it. You can call it successful. But what is the level of standard in Cincinnati? With Joe Burrow, I think he heightens it more than it has been in a long time. A very, very long time. He heightens it. So protect Joe Burrow, build around him, and players-wise, talent-wise, build around him, but also above him in the coaching. What are we going to do coaching? Is Zac Taylor really, really the guy going forward? They have to answer that. Is it offensive coordinator Lou the guy going forward? They have to answer that. The quarterback coach, the running back coach, the offensive line coach, the secondary coach, the middle linebacker coach, the defensive line coach. They got to take a wide look at things, okay? Like the Bengals franchise, I'm holding a snow globe in my hand. And the snow globe is the Bengals roster and coaching staff. I'm the ownership. I need to shake that thing and see how things go and really take a broad view of what I think is the best to have success in the future. That is how I'm taking this. What are your guys' thoughts? What are your guys' thoughts? What are your guys' thoughts? We've been live for over 40 minutes. Please, please, please smash that like button. We're at 35 likes. Let's punch that up to 50 likes. I know you guys can do it. And if you haven't already, hit that sub button. Join the DCTV family. We're on hashtag road to 2K. Let's get there, WhoDey Nation. Sewell, Spain, Hopkins, free agency guard, Williams. I'd be happy with that. I don't know. What about y'all? And, I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. I really like we're going to get one of the best, if not the best, offensive lineman in the draft. Because for another second season, we're going to be drafting in the lottery. We're probably going to have a top 5 pick. Okay? I know some people are calling for top 3. I'm going to say top 5 because you don't know what the NFC least, which teams are going to drop out. You know what I mean? So I'm going to just call for top 5 pick, and that's a really talented offensive lineman. But then you also got to look at free agency. That offensive line is really young, outside of Quentin Spain. I think Quentin Spain, a good reason adding him was because he really could be a voice, because I think he's 28, 29, and outside of him, that offensive line was really young. So I still would like the Bengals go after somebody in free agency, and I think they definitely will. I think they will actually be aggressive. But here I go setting myself up again. I really, really have hope the Bengals will look at some players. If not bid, if not buy, go look at some players, weigh out their options. I really think the Cincinnati Bengals will weigh out their options this offseason. You're going to have A.J. Green possibly walk. I think John Ross is going to walk. So I really think you got to look at drafting a receiver in the middle to late rounds, or, seeing if there's any veteran guys in free agency you might want to look at, taking a chance on. I think running back, you'll get Mixon back, Bernard back. I think that's a solid position. Offensive line, we just talked about. Joe Burrow will come back healthy and fine. Not too worried about that. Defensively, you got to check out some secondary. If you're looking at a second or third pick or the second or third round pick, I think you definitely look at drafting a corner. If not, continue to look at free agency, because we're gonna have guys. William Jackson III are gonna be up for a contract extension. You're gonna have Mackenzie Alexander, who we signed this past offseason for a 1-year prove-it deal, and he's really proven it. He's done a really great job. Trey Waynes comes back. But outside of that, you really got to look at some other options. Secondary, safeties. We got the best safety duo in the NFL, or one of the best. Jesse Bates, number one Pro Football Focus safety in the league, and then Von Bell, who has been great, who we got in the offseason from the Saints. So you know what? I look at this roster, man. I'm like, this roster has a lot of young talent. If we can get someone who can, if Zac Taylor's a guy or not, if we can get someone that has good, that will, really take a hold of this team, of this roster, I think the future is still bright for the Bengals, even with all this little ticky-tacky drama on the side that we're now seeing. I really think the future is still bright for a Bengals fan, and I don't think that should change your mind. Tony, man. Thank you so much, Tony.
Each player, not just one. Can I just throw this up there? Not a good year, didn't have time. Where to practice this year?
Yeah, I agree. And you're right. It's definitely more than one player. It's the whole team in general. And I think what you're trying to touch on is the fact that, they didn't have preseason. They didn't have OTAs. They didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this season. And that's a good point. And shout out to Tony. Get some Tony hype in the chat for all the donations to the stream. It really helps out. Anyways, Drake has sent me some more, and this is all according to this article. So this is all legit. I will once again link it in the description after the video uploads. So if you guys haven't already, go join the Discord, link in the description. Also, go follow me on my socials, especially my Twitter. I'll shout you out if you follow me. So, a few weeks after the awkward meeting that left some scratching their heads, Dunlap found out that he was being demoted. He was not told about his removal from the rush package by coaches, and instead found out about the change when he walked into a coach's office and saw the switch on the whiteboard. Shortly after, he had a media engagement and saw his raw emotions poured out. That said, the defensive coordinator has created an environment where communication and accountability are scarce. He often yells at one player for mistakes and chooses to ignore the mistakes of other players in his favor. Taylor declined to comment when asked about defensive coordinator's language and coaching style. Offensive line coach Jim Turner also utilizes abusive language coaching to multiple members of his organization. And this spring, he called former Ohio State Buckeye Isaiah Prince a thug during a Zoom meeting. When former NFL offensive lineman LaCharles Bentley found out about the incident, he raised hell and demanded Turner apologize to Prince. Turner obliged. As for the offensive lineman's meeting room, there are low standards and a lack of accountability. There is little competition for starting spots on the offensive line. Turner has his guys. Michael Jordan is a prime example of that. So, I mean, once again, these sources are... they're not for me. They're pretty legit. And we'll find out, because Zac Taylor can't ignore these. I mean, he can, technically. It's going to be very interesting to see what his approach is. If he continuously ignore these, or if he's going to address it finally in the media. And for his best sakes, in my opinion, I think he finally needs to address something. In his past 2 seasons as an NFL coach, any negativity that have gone his way, he has always just brushed off and just ignored, no comment, or just moves on to the next question. He has to answer something. I think there will be a lot less drama. I honestly think there will be a lot less drama if he just opens his mouth and tells us something. I think there will be less drama. And that's really surprising because usually when coaches talk, that causes drama. You know, if he calls out a player or calls out a coach or something, that causes drama. But in this specific situation, in my opinion, if he says something, if he talks out, I think that will make for less drama just because we're deprived of the information of what's really going on in this locker room. And that's why these leaks are going out. It's because everyone starts to question what's really going on here. And then somebody gets a hold of some players that talk only about time, and they're starting to tell us the truth. So it's really sad that we have to hear this from the players and not the coaching staff themselves. And you can't be mad at the media for bringing this out. You really can't be mad at the media for this. Because you're the part of the problem, buddy. So I still don't... I don't... You know, I'm not telling you to go hate on Zac Taylor. The guy's a human. The guy's going to make mistakes. Now it's just to see if he's going to own up to it and if he's really going to take the bull by the horns and what he does this rest of the season heading into the offseason, okay? Don't go out there, don't be obnoxious on social media. Don't be a hater. That's not what a true, loyal, supporting fan is. But you're obligated to your own opinions as long as you're respectful and have a little bit of a claim of why you're saying that. You're definitely obligated to what you want to say, but do it in a respectful manner. To these players, to these coaches, these guys have families, they have kids, they have brothers, sisters, mom, dads, just like you do, okay? And everyone sees what's said, especially when they're this famous, okay? But they're still human, okay? So don't go be obnoxious, okay? So I just want to get that out there. Shout out Jake. LT posted a link for the Discord. Join it up. DCTV fam. He's on the hot seat now, says Andrew. I still don't think he's on the hot seat. Personally, I don't see the Bengals firing him. And the reason why I say that, if you saw the article a few days ago, they said that he's not true. There was claims that he was on the hot seat, and they said, nope, he's our guy. So we'll see if this changes things. If this stirs the pot more, we'll see. We've been live for almost an hour here. I'll keep going for a little while. If you guys haven't already, hit that sub button, join the DCTV family, and hit that like button. We're at 38 likes. Let's get that to 50. Please get that to 50 likes. I know you guys can do it. Do you think if the lineman from Oregon is gone, should we get Jamar Chase? I don't know, man. I still got to look at the draft. Me telling you something, I would just not be telling the truth because I haven't looked into the draft too much. Because it really just pains me to do that for a second straight season to say, oh, don't look for a playoff win. Oh, don't look for, don't watch the games. What's more important? The draft. So I try not to get too ahead of myself early for the draft. I know the kid from Oregon is definitely probably the best player for us in the draft. And if we're going to be drafting probably top 5, which I suspect us to do, I think he'll be there. I would be really surprised if someone takes him for the number 1 pick. But if he's gone, I don't know. Is there other good offensive linemen? I don't know. We'll have to see. And like I said, the draft isn't a solution to all problems. You have to go out and you have to sign someone in free agency. I've said that for multiple years. I said that in the offseason, and here we are. So, here we are. Once again, try to stay positive in all the adversity, Bengals fans. You guys are the best fans out there in the NFL. Don't listen to the national media. Don't fool yourself. You guys are the best fans out there. You are the most loyal, and prove that, okay? You can be frustrated with the organization. You can be frustrated with the coach. You're allowed to. You're allowed to be obligated to your own opinion. Don't get that wrong. But it's still in a respectful manner. Be loyal to this franchise. The reason why I go out here and I ranted for the first 30 minutes of the stream was because I'm frustrated. I want the best for this franchise. I want this franchise to win games. I want to see Joe Burrow have the success many thought he would. And I'm frustrated. And that's okay. You can be mad at me for that, but I'm frustrated because I want the best for this organization. I want this organization to win one day. I want them to have success. I'm 19 years old, and I haven't seen this organization win a playoff game. If you're a Seahawks fan, man, you've seen 2 Super Bowls in the past 2 years. You know what I mean? If you're a Patriots fan, damn, man, you've seen 6 Super Bowls in the past 10. So... Like, I'm frustrated, man. I want this team to be successful. I want it to work. I want a coach that we can have and not worry about. You know, I want a coach for the future. And if that's Zac Taylor, so be it. I want him to be. I want Zac Taylor. I don't want Zac Taylor to fail. I know there's going to be people post-production that's going to go in my comments and say, you're just a hater on Zac Taylor or whatever. If you watch the full stream, I'm telling you right now, I'm not. I don't want to see him fail, because if he fails, the Bengals fail and they lose. I want Zac Taylor to succeed. I'd want him to be our guy. Do you think I want another offseason of just filled of questions? Who's the coach? You know, who's the players? You know, who's the owner? I don't. I want him to succeed. It's just really doubtful right now with the information we're getting and what I've seen this season. Okay? Like, I want him to be the guy. Will he be? I don't know. I don't know. The only guy that I think has to go, and I don't know if my mind will ever change, it's the defensive coordinator, Lou. I still think he has to go. He has shown me nothing to change my mind about that. So, that's the only guy that you could call me a hater on. The only guy you could call me a hater on is that. And once again, like, I don't want him to suck. I don't want him to fail, because then the Bengals fail because he's the coach. But I still don't think he's the guy. Guys, 43 likes. Punch it up to 50. I know you guys can do it. Even the Eagles have won a Super Bowl, LOL. And look at the Eagles now. Man, it really would stink to be an Eagles fan right now. To go from that high of a Super Bowl to now seeing Carson Wentz possibly just evaporate in front of your eyes. Same thing with your coach. We need Eric Bieniemy or Joe Brady straight up. I just don't think that's realistic. If you've been a Bengals fans long enough, you know how conservative this franchise is. You know how conservative this franchise is. Come on. Ravens fans been seeing success since birth. Their franchise is younger than me, and I've yet to see a playoff win. You got a point. Joe Brady's a bad hire. Don't do it. Unreal Internal have to go at minimum. Lou has to go. Dude is playing single high with the lead when 3 is less than 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. 100% agree. Lou has to go. Hashtag fire Lou. Hashtag DC for DC. And look, guys, I'm going to touch on the Joe Burrow situation one more time. Stop talking about it unless the words out of your mouth are hashtag pray for Joe. Okay? There should be no worries about Burrow. No worries. He's going to do everything in his power to get back on that field. He's going to go through surgery. He's going to rehab. He's going to practice. He's going to work his butt off. If that's the start of the 2021 season, if that's halfway through the 2021 season, if that's the end of the season, I don't care. Oh, excuse me. I don't care. He's our least problem we have to worry about. Our very least problem we have to worry about is Joe Burrow coming back from this injury. We know he will. My question is, when he comes back next year, when he comes back that first game, what's going to be around him? Is it the taste of success? Yes or no? And we'll find out. So that's about it. That's about all I have. I've been live over here for over an hour. So if you haven't already, hit that like button before you head out and hit that sub button. Join the DCTV family. The best infotainment for Cincinnati Bengals news here on YouTube. So make sure you join the family. We're on the road to 2K, and we're growing fast, so you would definitely want to join it. But this is my thoughts. Zac Taylor reportedly loses the Cincinnati Bengals locker room. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section post-production. So once this video goes up, don't comment live in the stream. We'll do that. But comment after the stream is over as a video so I can go in there and see what you guys are talking about because I'm really interested. And I want to know your guys' thoughts. It's the whole part of this DC family and this WhoDey Nation. I want to know your guys' thoughts. You know, I'm not going to sit here and run the show. Well, I am going to run the show, but I want to know what your guys' thoughts are too. That's what feedback is all about. So I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Anything? Burrow is built different. This won't phase him, and he's still young and should heal pretty easy. Mentally, we will be fine. The more likely fuel him more. Yeah, I got absolutely no worries in my mind that Burrow will come back better than ever. So this has been your boy, Drew Collins. If you haven't already, add me on all my socials over here. And join the DC family. You guys have a great rest of your afternoon. And like always, WhoDey.